From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the daily news for February 11th, 2026, and these are the stories we are covering at this hour. A county commission in Pennsylvania on Tuesday denied a request by Talon Energy to rezone hundreds of acres of land for the development of data centers, marking the latest example of local pushback, hampering the U.S. expansion of server warehouses. The rejection by Montour County commissioners follows months of opposition by residents in surrounding communities who voiced concerns that the project would increase power bills and damage the environment. Talon, in a statement, said it would continue to pursue the development. We appreciate the opportunity to continue conversations with Montour County leaders and residents about this proposed project, the company said. This allows us to take the time to listen, incorporate feedback from the commissioners, engage with the community, and refine our plans so they reflect local priorities. Local fights like the one around Montour are increasingly problematic for plans by the country's power industry and big tech, which is pouring hundreds of billions of dollars into building and powering data centers that will be used to train and roll out artificial intelligence technologies. In other news, Pennsylvania is short on homes, Governor Josh Shapiro said in his budget address, which is making housing prices and rent too high. In other words, yes, the rent is too damn high. To prevent the state's home shortage from reaching 185,000 by 2035, Shapiro on February 3rd proposed $1 billion supported by bonds to go toward new housing, upgrades to old housing, and other infrastructure projects for municipalities and schools. Increasing money for the Pennsylvania Housing Affordability and Rehabilitation Enhancement Fund, or FAIR Fund, in last year's budget helped. In the past 13 years, those funds have created or rehabbed nearly 4,000 affordable housing units across the state, according to the governor's office. But some builders believe their industry cannot build fast enough to meet demand. It's impossible to catch up to the need if projects take 3 years to come to fruition. You cannot outpace that, said Jeff Inch, founder of the development firm Inch & Company that has projects in York, Dauphin, Adams, Cumberland, and Lancaster counties. If I have to carry a property for 3 years, pay interest, taxes, plus the amount to go back and forth with permits, all that cost goes straight to the end user. Hours before Governor Josh Shapiro's budget address in a small corner of the Capitol, in front of a very small audience, lawmakers held a yearly event. The Legislative Audit Advisory Commission's meeting just took 11 minutes. 11. Members voted on an audit report but took no questions or comments. It's the same evasiveness every year, said Eric Epstein from the government watchdog Rock the Capitol. There is absolutely no opportunity for the public to speak. There's no recommendations from the auditor. Pennsylvania is scraping together money this year as it faces a $4 billion to $5 billion structural deficit, meaning it's spending more than it's taking in. At the same time, lawmakers are also sitting on a pile of cash. The audit released online showed the legislature has $307 million from taxpayers in reserve. Senator Chris Gabbard, the Republican from Berks, Lancaster, and Lebanon counties, sits on the commission. The dollars and cents are accounted for, but does it make sense to keep all of it? I would say it's a significant amount of money, and the amount of money that we should have in these accounts should only equal what we need, Gebhard said, and that certainly is determined by the people that are above my pay grade. And finally, Manhattan Borough President Brad Hoylman-Siegel said he and other New York City politicians will try to re-raise the rainbow flag at the Stonewall National Monument in Manhattan on Thursday, after the National Park Service removed it under an order from the administration of President Donald Trump. The mean-spiritedness of the Trump administration seems to know no bounds, Hoylman-Siegel told Politico. But we as a community are not going to take it standing by idly, as our history and by extension our human rights are attempted to be erased. We may be prevented from re-raising the flag, he added, but if we don't seize this moment and this outrage, I think we will let down generations of queer activists. You damn right you will. Numerous other New York politicians also criticized the National Park Service removal of the flag. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani wrote, "I am outraged by the removal of the rainbow pride flag from the Stonewall National Monument. New York is the birthplace of the modern LGBTQ plus rights movement." Actually, it's Philadelphia, but I won't, quibble. "And no act of erasure will ever change or silence that history. Our city has a duty not just to honor this legacy, but to live up to it. I will always fight for a New York City that invests in our LGBTQ plus community, defends our dignity, and protects every one of our neighbors without exception." And that is the news at this hour. From PEP Radio is available on the Live 365 app, the PEP Radio page at paequality.com, Roku, and Alexa. If you're watching our videos on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel. The Pennsylvania Equality Project is conducting its housing survey for 2026. Details are on their website, paequality.com. Up next, we have the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.